Hey, God bless everyone on today. Hope you're doing all right. This Tuesday morning, um, coming on this live to talk about the painful truth of the Lord's will. Um, um, the one thing that a lot of people won't talk about is some of God's will, um, uh, the pain, the pain that it causes in God, and some of the things you have to accept are part of God's will. Um, some people have lost some death. Some people have went through um, um, some really traumatic things. All with the question a lot of times of God, why? Why is the pain of your will so great sometimes? Why? Um, why is the suffering? Why is the suffering so great at times that, quite honestly, um, we don't think we can make it through it. That's just a real talk. Like I said, this is for real talk. This is not no glorified message of God's will. Um, I'm just gonna be real on today, y'all. As I only know how to be, is that some things that I have encountered in God's will um, has not been at all fun. It has not been glamorous. It has not been um, praiseworthy, if I can say it like that. It wasn't praise fit um, to. I, I don't know no other way to say it, but to say it like this, some things that were a part of God's will, I just didn't want to thank God for. I don't know no other way to just say this. It wasn't. Oh God, I thank you for this. It wasn't a. Oh God, I thank you for this part of your will. No, I'm just gonna be real. Some things that I've had to go through um uh for God's will. And I'm sure you all can. Some people can relate to this. Is that no? This ain't been no thank you God moment. I'm gonna be honest. This is not. Oh God, I thank you for this. Some pains of some things that I had to do. Um, y'all, quite honestly, it hurt. It hurt. It hurt so bad. I can really kind of relate to Jesus's moment before death, where he was like, Lord, Lord, why have you forsaken me? I don't know who I'm talking to on that, but sometimes in this process of God's will, where He said He won't leave you nor forsake you, but sometimes y'all in the part of this process, you just feel like, man, God, where are you? You feel like God, where I'm left without answers. God, I'm left baffled at what it is that you're trying to do. What is it that you're trying to do, God? And that's the constant question when we start dealing with the pain of His will. It's God, what is this for? God, what is this for? Why am I suffering in this? Why is the agony so great in this? Why is it? Why is this my road? That's the question that we keep asking God. If we really be real on today, if we ask God, God, why is this the path that I must go? Some people say, well, it's because of you guys using your life as a testimony. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm not gonna say it's not. But why is the question that always comes back. Why? What I've discovered the most about this pain of his will is this, y'all. What I've discovered the most about the pain of his will is this, is the sustaining agony of how long will it take to see what it is that you're trying to do in this. That's part of the hardest part for me. I can't speak for everybody else, but the hardest part for me is, God, when am I going to see light at the end of all this that I had to suffer through? And I'm going to be real on this morning, y'all. Is I had a real moment. I had a real moment this morning about my son Hezekiah. A lot of people don't know the whole story about my son Hezekiah, and they know he has autism, things like that, but they don't know the whole story concerning my son. And y'all, I'm gonna be honest. It's a very hard place. Uh, it's a very hard place, y'all, to have to accept the will of the Lord as it pertains to my son Hezekiah. And you really got to appreciate God. I'm trying to get this out, y'all, but let me tell you something. I love my son and my daughter with everything in me. I love Hezekiah and Jessica with everything that's in me. And my son dealing with autism and dealing with having to put him in some assistance places because I couldn't I couldn't do it myself. The mother couldn't do it herself. Y'all, it's not easy. It's not it's not easy at all to let God. It's not easy at all to let God's will have its course. It's not easy at all to let God's will have its course in some of the most painful places that that you have to go through. People just don't understand sometimes that when you begin to say yes to His will, that tragedy is going to be at some point connected to it as well. It's not all glitz and glamour. We sing the song, and I've learned over the years to be careful when I sing that song. That it's going to take God to push that song out of me. That yes will. Because, y'all, I'm telling you, when you start saying yes to His will, when you start saying yes to His will, a lot of the things, that are closest to you will find itself under a lot of attacks. I'm telling you from what I know. When you really are chosen, you're really called, there's just a lot of things that you that you don't even ask for. I'm just saying it like that. There's some things you didn't ask for. I didn't ask for my son to have autism. I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask to go through divorce. I didn't ask to be separated from my children. A lot of people don't even know the story. They don't know the story behind everything that I had to say yes to in this process. But y'all, God's yes has a lot of pain connected to it as well. Oh, I know that they say we'll understand better by and by. That's true. That's true. I'm not saying that you don't. You don't. But y'all, what more people don't talk about is the agony and the pain of having to sit here and watch some things unfold. You have to sit and watch. People don't understand that part. It's different when you see it when it hits you, blindsided. But when you have to watch and you have to watch the betrayals in your life. You have to watch why people betray you. You have to watch where you have to lose some things from your life. I'm not talking about some stuff that hit you blindsided. I'm talking about some stuff you got to sit there and endure through, even when you see the end of it. I understand, Jesus. I understand. I understand. I understand when Jesus was seeing the place of death in his own eyes. He saw the place of death. And the cry for, Lord, Lord, why have you forsaken me? If this ain't for nobody but me, I've asked myself, God, why have you forsaken me? Why have you forsaken me? What? All I did, and I'm sure somebody else has said this, all I did was try to be obedient to what you said for me to do. And my obedience led to a lost marriage. My obedience left with a lost child. My obedience left me with a lost loved one. My obedience left me abandoned. My obedience left me betrayed. My obedience left me for dead in the wilderness because I was just trying to obey your will. Or if you're in the place of just celebrating and you're in the place of praising God for his will, you're in a good place. But I promise you, for every mountain, there is a valley. For every mountain, there is a valley. And people don't like to talk about the valley of God. They don't like to talk about the valley of the shadow of death. They don't like to talk about death places. Because what we as a church, we want to stay on a cloud nine in his glory. But we don't realize that we get a taste of the glory and then we got to come and live this story out. So people say, well, it's worth it. People say, well, it's worth it in the end. You tell that to the mother that's lost their child. They say it's worth it in the end. Well, you tell somebody else that's went through a marriage that they've been married for 20 years and they say it's worth it. You tell somebody that's had to give their kids up for adoption because they weren't mother enough. Tell somebody that's been homeless, oh, that it's worth it. Tell somebody that is homeless, oh, it's worth it. That's just real talk, y'all. Yeah, it's worth it. But listen, I promise you, every pain of what you say yes to, you're going to feel it. I'm not trying to scare you away from the truth of God. I'm not trying to scare you away from your faith. I'm just trying to give you the real. That, yeah, there is more on the other side of this. And yet you do understand better by and by. But there is a valley experience that I can't tell you how long it's going to take for you to come out of it. I don't have an answer for that. Oh, I believe like everybody else believe for their healing, for their own bodies. I believe like everybody else, and I still believe God for the healing in my son. I still believe God's going to deliver him, but I had to walk out. See, that's what they don't talk about there. They don't talk about that. They don't want to talk about the walking out of God's will. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the suffering. Don't nobody want to talk about suffering for God. We as a church don't talk about sufferings no more for the will, but it's a suffering that we must endure. There is a suffering in your own life that you must endure as a part of God's will. It's just part of the call, y'all. It's just part of the will and testament that comes with this journey. Broken relationship. This is a part of the will of God. Letting go of some people. I'm gonna drop 100. Letting go of some people that you didn't really want to let go of, but you had to let go of because they weren't going where God had positioned your life. That's real talk on the real about God's will. I ain't talking about the ones that's easy to cut off. I ain't talking about them backstabbers. They easy to cut off. But I'm talking about some people that you have to cut off and they ain't done nothing wrong, but because they weren't going where you're going. That's real talk of the will. This real talk of the will, when you have to go through a place of lack, when you have to go through a desert of deserting, of being deserted. I'm talking about a real place of where you're suffering in your body and you didn't ask for it. Come on now. I'm talking about a real place of pain in the will of the Lord where you didn't ask for this illness. You didn't ask for this sickness. You didn't ask for this mental disturbance. You didn't ask for this. You didn't ask to be single. You didn't ask for this abortion. You didn't ask, I'm talking about a miscarriage. You didn't ask for your divorce. It just came with the journey. It came with the journey. It came with the journey. Every day you believe, you wake up every day. I'm talking about real pain when you wake up and say, God, this is the day where everything changes. This is the day, God, where I'm going to wake up from this nightmare that I call a life. This is the day. Oh, they'll say, keep your head up. They'll say, keep giving God the praise. But y'all, there comes a time. I'm just being real, man. I don't know no other way to be. But there comes a time where you just don't really feel like blessing the Lord at all times. Come on, man. There's just a time where you just don't. It's not that I don't love God. It's not that I don't believe His word. It's not that I don't believe the testimonies of others. It's not that I don't have faith. But sometimes in this journey, you have to go. You will go through a season in your life where it's just not. You just feel like it's just not right, God. People talk about Job and all that, but people don't really talk about the whole story of Job. And people leave out that part of Job where Job got frustrated. People leave that part out, and he went to God for himself in the frustration of his pain. People can act like it if they want to. Church folks, y'all can play church if y'all want to. But y'all, the will of the Lord is pain. I don't care what nobody say. The will of the Lord is some definite pain in our lives. And y'all, this morning, I'm telling you. And it was crazy. I'm almost finished. I promise you. Now I'm gonna let y'all go on with y'all day. But I was up about 4 this morning, just kind of up, and I started watching this old movie called Bustin' Loose. It's an old movie with Richard Pryor in it, and it's about a man that takes these orphans cross state to Washington, but they're orphans, and it was just something in me that just triggered a moment of these children being abandoned in this orphanage. And somehow or another, they clicked with my son, Hezekiah. It clicked with my son, Hezekiah. And I began to really find it was like a real moment it was like a real moment for me of what all my son has been through. What all my daughter has been through. People don't know the story, man. And I found myself in a place with my son. Found myself in a place with my son, y'all. And Lori don't know this, but she got on there and started singing about believing. And it was really what I needed. I needed at that moment. It was really, really what I needed at that moment, y'all. And God just began to really just, he really just began to comfort me in the place of my pain in his will. Lori likes to call them hiccups sometimes, because sometimes, y'all, sometimes we don't even realize that what God brought us out of, what God brought us out of was a real, real place. It was a real, real place of pain. It was a real place. We don't realize how bad our Egypt really was at the time. We don't realize how bad our Egypt really was at the time. And even in my complaint of the pain in God's will, even in my agitation, some of you may even be agitated with the way things are going in your life, feeling, God, this is not fair. But let me tell you this, on the other side, there is hope beyond this life. I know it sounds cliche, but y'all, there is hope beyond this life. And as I begin to think about my son, I realized at that moment that there is places that God will go. There is places that God will go on your behalf that you can't go. There is places that your prayers for your situation that God will go to that you can't go to. And if you're in that place of pain right now with your situation, I just want you to know you're not alone. Don't think, and don't let the devil think that your pains what you're suffering through is alone. Because there's somebody else out there that understands that you too are waiting on your healing. You too are waiting on God to complete the work. You too are waiting on God to give you the answers. You too are waiting on God to turn your situation around. You too are waiting on God to be in a place of reconciliation. People don't know all of your story. But let me tell you something. God knows what it takes. We may not like the ingredients. I call it a spiritual gumbo. We may not like the ingredients of what makes God good for our lives, but he knows what will make us good for his glory. He knows what will make you good for his glory. I encourage you, keep your head up. Keep your chest up. If you got to cry, go ahead and cry. Hey, I heard that song by Commission in my ear. Cry on. He understands your tears. He knows how much that you can bear. Faintest cry you hear. Cry on. Cry on. in your midst of your discouragement and doubt, know that God is with you. I'm telling you. Even when it don't feel like it, sometimes my sister, my brother, even when it doesn't feel, you don't feel like praising all the time. I'm just being real. Y'all know me. You don't always feel like giving God the glory all the time with everything that you go through. You don't feel like it all the time. But I encourage you that there is something on the inside of you that just won't let you quit. It's just something inside of you that just won't let you quit. I just felt like I needed to share this with somebody on today, y'all. Y'all continue to keep me in prayer. Because let me tell you something. I've been doing this thing for about 30-something years. I've been in ups and downs in this thing called ministry. I've seen it all. And it still never surprises me, the things that I see. But let me tell you this. In the midst of this journey, I know at the end of the day that whatever it is that I have to go through and whatever it is that I have went through, that it was because God needed me to go through it. Whatever it is that you're going through, just know that it's because God needs you to go through it. Oh, I know some of it's your choice. I know some of it's your fault. But hey, listen, even some of our decisions and some of our faults are a part of what God makes up as according to his will for our lives. Don't ever downplay the Lord's will just because it hurts so bad right now. God's got an answer for all that you suffer through. Y'all be blessed. Be encouraged. Not thy will, but thine be done. Be blessed.